The WWE franchise is an evergreen, unrivaled soap opera, one that stubbornly refuses to tap out. Remarkably, the brand has managed to survive lewd accusations, public scrutiny, tragic accidents, and untimely forced reinventions. Rivals have entered the market, legendary superstars have abandoned ship, and many previous diehard fans have lost interest at a frightening rate. Yet, when faced with adversity, the WWE kicks out, switches the momentum, and grabs the 1-2-3. Even after all these years, its spectacle attracts an audience of millions, capturing the hearts of the young and old with its unique brand of sports entertainment. Add to the fact that the organization consistently produces a scary conveyor belt of Adonis rivaling physical specimens, and it's clear to see why it's one of the most long-running and popular programs on television. Unfortunately, the same cannot be said about the recent iterations of THQ's licensed video games. Uninspired gameplay, lackluster controls, subpar graphics, and a frustrating lack of innovation have seen THQ's annual games gradually stagnate. Straight away, and perhaps surprisingly, considering the target audience, 12 immediately thrusts you into the action with absolutely no tutorial or guide whatsoever. Choose a mode and off you go. There is no explanation, no training option, no in-game manual to help guide more novice players. Tips and hints are shown during the pre-match load screens, though if you're revamping a control system, it's probably a good idea to provide a short tutorial video or at least a reference point for newcomers and veterans alike. THQ have removed the previous right analog stick grappling system seen in SmackDown vs. Raw, replacing it with a more traditional system that relies on the face buttons. You can strike, Irish whip, grapple, perform signature moves and finishers, while your right trigger makes your superstar run. Grappling is slightly more complex. When your superstar locks arms with an opponent, a number of options arise for you to bring the pain. You can arm lock, headlock, and hold from behind. When you tie up your opponent, you can transition between holds by flicking the right stick up, to the side, or down to move behind. New to WWE is the limb targeting system. Submission specialists finally have a chance to focus on certain body parts. Regrettably, the submission system is depressingly simplistic. Perform a submission and depending on how damaged an opponent's limb is, they'll mash a few buttons to break the hold, whilst in turn punishing the submission specialist. Why THQ refused to create a worthwhile submission mechanic after all these years is baffling, especially considering the number of superstars who rely on submission victories. To truly lay the smackdown, more powerful moves are required to break your opponent's will. Powerful moves can now only be executed on groggy opponents. Complementing the overhauled grapple mechanics is a pleasing and reasonably effective reversal system. Players can reverse holds, strikes, avoid high-flying moves, and even finishers by correctly pressing the right trigger when prompted. Conversely, the response times aren't as instantaneous as they should be, often resulting in fairly mistimed reversals and a slap around the jaw. In fact, we nearly found it easier to time reversals when we removed the on-screen prompts, which pop up far too quickly for them ever to be useful. One area which continued to perplex is the kick-out minigame. When pinned, the player is required to hold down the A button, releasing it in a tiny designated portion of a rising meter. It's a difficult task, and one that is far less preferable than the traditional method of frenetically mashing the face buttons to break a pinfall. The game's presentation values fantastically mimic all the glamour and pyro-fueled explosiveness of the franchise. Slick menus, a variety of recognizable arenas, and faithfully represented entrance scenes all add to the spectacle of the global phenomena that is wrestling. From the convincing realistic television broadcast angle to the expertly captured bone-crushing replays, 12 is a visually appealing title, and perhaps the best to date. The same can be said about the superstars, who look terrific, with cut lean physiques, facial grimaces, and accurately rendered features. The Big Show is a lumbering 500-pound monster, whilst the buxom diva beauties are fittingly curvaceous and actually attractive for once. The only slight annoyance in terms of the visuals is the disturbing plastic sheen which accompanies the skin textures of each superstar. Hopefully, with future hardware, fans will be able to distinguish every whisker, acne scar, and bead of sweat on Triple H's weathered face. The biggest grievance that befalls WWE 12 is the frankly awful commentary and fan noise. Michael Cole and Jerry the King Lawler's anecdotes are inconsistent, uninspiring, and horribly dull. Hearing the staccato delivery of John Cena from behind is as strange as it is just plain wrong. Half the time, Michael Cole decides to advertise WWE.com whilst Jerry randomly yelps at literally any action. Adding to the miserable audio are the fans, or in this case, lack of fans. What has continued to flummox the developers is the whole process of capturing the high-octane, larger-than-life stories that lay the foundation for the shows into a tangible, enjoyable game mode. The Road to WrestleMania mode is a brave yet ultimately unsatisfactory story campaign. There are 3 roads to WrestleMania to complete, comprising of outsider, villain, and hero. Once again, the derisory audio delivery plagues 12 story mode with wooden voice acting and an unconvincing weak storyline for each mode. Worse still, the campaign is siphoned into tedious objectives. For example, the player will be required to inflict enough damage until an indicator appears over the opponent's head. Once prompted, a cutscene takes over, undoing all your hard work, as you soon realize that your character was never meant to actually beat the opponent. Most importantly, the incremental match types negate from what WWE actually does fairly well, and that's the wrestling mechanics. The new Universe mode also provides more longevity for hungry fans, though yet again it's an oddly executed idea. There's gotta be something really good about the game. Well, there is. The customization options. Once again, there's a mammoth amount of silly create-a-wrestler options. Make a freak, make them unique, or attempt to create a pastime fan favorite. Create your own pay-per-views, edit the rosters, or even tweak the gameplay mechanics sliders. Naturally, there are all of the match types one could think of included, ranging from the notorious Hell in the Cell match type to the good old-fashioned Fatal 4-Way.
Oh man, he landed right on his neck from that German suplex.
WWE is a valiant effort, though one that sadly falls short of claiming the championship belt. Final verdict, the game is a missed opportunity. Let's just hope the developer continues to listen to the fans who make the WWE what it is today.